Welcome to Hit or Miss. This is a series where I review anime, movie, TV shows, games, you name it. If it's something that piques my interest, I'm going to review it. And today we are talking about the Super Mario movie. Now, because Nintendo gets very trigger happy with anything that's related to the movie, even trailers, I don't want to get demonetized. So you're just going to see, I guess, random gameplay from random Mario games while I talk about the movie throughout this review. So first, let me start with the two big questions that I know people are going to ask. First of all, is the movie actually good? And in my opinion, yes, I actually think it's great. I don't care what all those other reviewers have said. I have seen the Rotten Tomatoes scores. I even looked at one of the acclaimed reviews that everyone was showing around yesterday. Straight trash, dog shit, awful. I don't think it was a good review. It missed on the mark on so many different things, but I will explain my reasonings in a little bit. But the next thing I know people want to know is Chris Pratt's voice good? Did he do a good job in the Mario movie? Because that was a big concern I had myself. Every trailer made it just seem very bad. It wasn't good. But I am happy to say that it was actually not that bad. It wasn't really a sore thumb. It never stood out. I wasn't like, oh God, it's fucking Chris Pratt. Oh no, here we go. It's me, Mario. No, it was never nothing like that. It fit in. It fit in well enough to the point where I wasn't distracted. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't sitting there wishing that someone else voiced Mario instead. It just works. So I'm actually very happy to say that, because if your main star of the movie doesn't actually sound good and instead you rather just plug your ears up, then that wouldn't be a good thing. So first thing I want to start with is the visuals. My God, they are fucking gorgeous. I love the visuals throughout this entire movie, and it's just a treat to watch. This is one of the few times where I watch a movie and I want to actually kind of go back again just to watch the visuals again. It was fucking gorgeous, and I can't stress that enough. It's one of those things where I almost kind of wish I did see this in 3D, even though I don't think it would have added much to it. But it was just a beautiful film. The animations, everything was just crisp, pristine. I don't know really what other way to describe it as. It's just a visual eye candy. And for someone who enjoyed Mario games growing up and still does now, it just felt like seeing, I guess, your childhood on the big screen animated. Like my inner child as a kid, if I saw that like when I was a kid, I would have been overjoyed with happiness just seeing Mario even on the big screen, just doing all the things that I would have done playing in the video games. Because ultimately, this is a movie for the fans of Mario games in general. Like, this is the main core audience, at least I believe, for this film. Yes, it can be accessible to people who have never played any Mario games, but let's be real. Everyone has, at least in some way, shape, or form, heard of Mario. You might not have played the games, but at least to some extent, you know who he is. And so this would be, I guess, an introduction. And I've tried to view it from that perspective of, oh, well, let's say I don't really know much about Mario. Could I still enjoy the movie? And I think you could. Now, I say that more as if you're a kid, right? If you're a kid and you come into the movie, you don't know anything about Mario other than who he is, that he's just like the plumber guy or the guy who just jumps around, woohoo, shit like that. Then yeah, I mean, I think you would enjoy the movie. But if you're an adult, you never cared about Nintendo, you never cared about Mario, none of that, then you probably won't enjoy this film. I'm gonna be honest with you. You're probably gonna hate it. You're probably gonna be like, well, this is a waste of time. But if you got kids, then take them along, just sit there and let the movie play, and I guarantee it'll be a good time. Because I've seen a lot of reviews talk about, oh, this is references to the movie, this is Easter eggs to the movie. And I mean, yeah, that's kind of part of it. Like, the story in this movie, I know that's like a sour spot for some people, at least those who are not aware of Mario, don't care about Mario. But this is essentially an origin story. This is what it is. It shows you how Mario got to be who he is, and then it gets you pretty much following the same typical, I guess, story, if you will, for Mario games, even though they're not really like crazy known for story unless you play like the Paper Mario games, at least the OG ones. Then yeah, there is some story there, but typically the mainline Mario games, Super Mario 64, Sunshine, etc., I mean, they all have the same purpose. You go to defeat Bowser. Spoiler alert, I'm sorry for that. But yes, that's pretty much the core of the story. It just shows you how Bowser gets to know who Mario is, how Mario gets to be the thorn in his side, and that's it. It just shows you how the games got to be where they are. Essentially, that's the best way I can describe it. If you played the games in the past, you already know the whole deal. Mario goes and defeats Bowser, saves Princess Peach, and woohoo, story over. Like, at one point, I know that in one of the reviews it mentioned that this movie's offensive to Italian people with their accent and how it talks and all this. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. Like, I hate to be like this blunt, but this is just a goddamn movie, man. You either come to enjoy it or you're not. Look, I'm a simple viewer. I like to just watch movies and have a good time. I'm not here to read between the lines, especially of a fucking movie that's pretty much meant for kids. And I'm not here for that. I'm just here to have a good time. It's entertainment. I'm not here to be like, oh my God, is Nintendo trying to push girl boss power energy? No, it's just a movie, man. Like, Why do we have to overcomplicate shit? I can't wrap my head around this. Ultimately, this is a great movie for kids and adults who grew up playing Nintendo games. That is the best way to describe this movie. Again, the story's not going to blow you away, but it's decent. There is at least some form of a story. The visuals are beautiful. If you're someone that's a fan of animation and you just like to see Mario on the big screen, see some of the worlds from the past get shown again, kind of revision now in, modern technology, it's beautiful. It's great. The soundtrack, the music, everything fucking on point. Voice acting, I had no issues at all. I thought it sounded fine. I didn't really see anything that stood out to me. The only thing I guess maybe that I thought was kind of odd was Princess Peach's design, but that just could be my lack of remembering her actual original design. So that's on me. But besides that, I thought it was all great. I had no issue with it. I thought it was just a fun movie. And honestly, that's what matters, man. Do you have fun watching it? And my answer is yes. I enjoyed it. Would I go see it again? Fuck yeah, I would. All this other extra shit about the story's fucking terrible. It's pushing a weird agenda right here. The game doesn't tell me who Bowser is or why I should give a fuck about him. Oh, Princess Peach, who the fuck is she? Is she actually in the Mushroom Kingdom? Yes, that's actually what one of the reviews said. They were like, I didn't even know this was the Mushroom Kingdom, even though the movie told you multiple times that yes, you are in the Mushroom Kingdom. Again, terrible review. I have a feeling some of these people just watched the movie with their eyes closed and didn't even pay attention. So, woo, go critics, right? Another thing I would also like to add in is the pacing was kind of, it was okay. From beginning to the middle of the movie, I felt like it was spot on, but once you start getting closer to the end, it felt like it was like, you had like the director there, like, hey, let's wrap it up, boys. We need to get this movie done. Like, it felt like the ending was starting to be just completely speed run. They were just trying to get over with as quick as possible. And that was kind of like a sour point that I saw. I feel like they could have benefited from at least a little bit longer runtime, just so things could have played out better. On top of that, you do still have the same things you will see in other Illumination films. There are a couple of scenes where it's kind of like singing. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but there are singing scenes. And I was just kind of, that's the few times where I'm like, all right. But besides that, there wasn't really anything else that kind of stood out. I mean, you had slow motion scenes. It's all just typical 101 Illumination type scenes thrown in there, but it's to be expected. So I'm not really too bothered by it, but I did just want to point that out. I also just want to add in that there were actual moments where I was like genuinely laughing. There were funny moments throughout the entire movie. And that's something that's kind of rare for me to say because I don't really like all the movies that have like their funny moments. Like they expect like the audience to laugh. Now, granted, I went to the theater. It was just me and one other person. Like I chose purposely a place that was just empty so I wouldn't have to worry about kids making a bunch of noise. And I mean, me and the other person out there, we were cracking up. There were so many fucking funny moments throughout the entire movie that it was just like, I was like, wow, shit, this is actually kind of good. If you go into this movie as an adult and you're a fan of Nintendo properties and you grew up with it, you're going to see so many Easter eggs, references, the soundtrack, they're going to play different songs. You're just going to hear all of it and it's just going to feel like nostalgia and it's going to be a good time. I guarantee that from the bottom of my heart. And for this movie, I would give this definitely a hit. This is something I would go see immediately. It's not something I would wait for Blu-ray and DVD unless you just really don't care for Mario. But I would recommend watching this as soon as possible just because it's really good. Anyway, so all I got for you. Have a great day. Yeah,